Hi everybody, this is Greg Swanson. Today I'm going to do a video review of this car I bought not too long ago. It's a 2017 Honda Civic EX hatchback. Got the window sticker right here. It is the polished metal out exterior with the black interior. This is the 175 horsepower 1.5 liter 16 valve CVT. This car is a blast. I totally love it. And I'll review with you for a second what my requirements were. I wanted something that was easy to drive, and I was going to be sitting in traffic because I drive a long way to work, that had a big hatch so I could fit all my bicycles into it, whatever I was riding, mountain bike, fat bike, road bike, whatever it was. I wanted to be able to fit my crap in the back. Let's take a look at that real quick. So this is it. This is the back of this thing, and when I looked at everything else in this, in this type of car, this thing was by far the biggest, coolest hatch that I could ever hope to have, and it really has kind of solved a lot of problems for me in terms of being able to just fit a lot of stuff in here, and I have no problems in putting any of my bikes back here. My fat bike, I do have to take the front wheel off, but every other bike I can put back here and turn the wheel, which is awesome. So I just love this as the kind of the crowning, I don't know, diamond of the car. What I did buy was this Civic, I don't know, this kind of exterior shell that you put down to protect the back of it. That was kind of an important thing to buy. So that's what I think makes this car fantastic. The rest of it is, I think it just looks freaking awesome. It looks really cool. But how does it drive? Let's take a look at that. Nate, let's take this guys for a drive and see what's cool about this car and maybe what's not cool. There's a couple things that aren't cool. So here we are in the car. It's quiet. Starts every time. Love it, like a new car should. This EX had the sunroof. I wanted it because it's like super cool. I thought to have it. Do I use it? Nope, not that much. How long have I had this car? About like 7,500 miles on it, and I've used it 10 or 15 times. But when you want it, like you're driving at night or something, you have the radio, you're just cranking, you're having fun, and it's kind of dark, and you're driving around whatever in the streets in the city, and you're kind of coming in. It's fun to have sometimes. So this EX version has Apple CarPlay, and it's like the one redeeming quality of the whole dashboard system, because if there's anything that's lousy about this car, it's the fact that you don't have the knobs to adjust to find your radio stations. So you gotta do the preset thing, and then you control everything on the steering wheel when you're driving. Otherwise, it's kind of a hazard actually to try and work with the radio in this setup. But once you get everything set up and you control things from the steering wheel, it's not too terrible. But the CarPlay, I haven't had really any problems with the CarPlay. It's pretty decent. It always connects. I read some bad things, but I haven't had any problems with it. It's actually not bad.
Explain what CarPlay is.
It's just Apple CarPlay for, your Apple iPhone or Android. Okay, so here we go. We're driving. This is the CVT, and I watched a lot of reviews of this car before buying it, and people talk negatively about CVTs, and I understand why. Because it's kind of like driving a snowmobile, it's one gear. You don't hear your car shift. It's just simulated shifting or no shifting, but it doesn't bother me. I think like I was hearing people, all these videos I watched and people talk about it, they want to drive a manual. This car is just about impossible to find in a manual transmission, or you have to order it from England if you want to get it in a manual. And so I don't want to sit and shift all the time because I'm 46 years old and I drive 37 miles to work. So sometimes traffic's going 35, 40, 50, and I don't want to shift between third and fourth for 2 hours per day. That's why I got an automatic. That's why I had no problem not getting a manual. I shifted a lot in my 20s, probably 250,000 miles. If I had a manual transmission, it'd be for the weekend, and I don't have room in my garage for another car, for a weekend car. So this is totally cool for me, and I actually love it. And the fun thing about this car is, let's check this out. The sport mode actually does make a difference in this car. Now I got some vehicles in front of me, so I'm going to slow down. But it is so fun to drive. It's just hysterical for what it is. A Honda Civic. It is just very, very tight in terms of how it hugs the corners, how it handles the road, how it steers, how it scoots down the road. It is just a delight. I find myself giggling in this car sometimes when I drive. I just love to get in it and go. And sometimes, like after a long work day, I'll go out and I'll go to the parking lot and I'm just kind of tired and my mind's kind of like fried. And then I come into this car and I'm like, oh, I get to drive this car. This is what I'm driving. Oh, and I kind of like perk up. I mean, it's that fun. So let's go in sport mode and let's set it down. Even in the CVT, you can kind of hear it. Now I'm up at 60. That was just a couple of seconds of driving. So it really gets up and goes for a little four-cylinder, 1.5 liter turbo. It just really scoots along the road nicely. And then when you're steering on curvy roads, it really is even more of a pleasure to drive. And I mean, I shopped everything, you guys, in this segment. I looked at the Golf, the Rabbits, the Mazda 3, the Ford Focus, everything that had a hatch. I was out there and I was driving, I was kicking tires, I was looking at, and I was trying to figure out what I really wanted. I tried hard to love the Mazda. I mean, it is a cool car. The Mazda is a very, very cool car. And I tried even harder to fall in love with the Golf. And I came back to this car again and again, and I just was like, nothing compares to this car. And I'm like not a Honda sellout at all. I would just be just fine not getting a Honda, but this car, they have done such a nice job with it. It's so fun to drive. It's so responsive. It handles so well. I mean, for what it is, right? For what it is just a gas to drive. So what are some unexpected things that I found out about this car that were cool? I mean, this rear view mirror here on the right hand side is kind of neat. I mean, I knew that. It is kind of handy to have, and when you're blinking, it turns on. There's also a little button over here you can have it on all the time. But what I really like is there's a brake hold button right here on the console, and if you're really in traffic that you have to wait in, and you don't want to keep your foot on the brake, you just press this little brake hold button, take your foot off the brake, and your brake is now being held for you. I didn't really think about that before buying this car, but when I'm in heavy traffic and I'm stopped and I have to wait, I'm like, wow, that is really, really a neat feature. And I don't know, I discovered it like a month ago when I was stuck in traffic and I was sick of holding my foot on the brake. So if you want to buy this car, which one should you buy, right? They've got a lot of different trim levels and whatnot. I mean, that Sport that comes out in the base is probably the best deal. If I had to go back and do it again, I wouldn't feel bad about buying that car. I'm glad I got this one, mostly because of the CarPlay. But that base that they have, that's a lot of car for not a lot of money. So figure out, I realized, you guys, it took me the longest time to figure out was what trim I wanted and what color I wanted. And once I finally figured that out, it was like a week later that I bought the car. It took me like 3 months just to figure those two things out, what trim I wanted and what color I wanted. And once I figured it out, boom. So enjoy your car search. I hope this video helped. You're gonna absolutely love how this car drives. Go drive it. Drive the EX against the Sport and step it down and see what you like more. And you know, enjoy this car. You're gonna love it. I have no regrets.